I heard that people love torture tests, but some of them are so lame and unrealistic. So I thought, hey, I'll give it a try, but I don't really know what to do. What the hell is wrong with you? The Swampfox Optics Kraken is an enclosed emitter red dot, and that means that lint, water, candy, oh get over it, I'm fat. None of those can get in and obscure the emitter, and the emitter is what projects the red dot onto the lens. And on a lot of open red dots, that can be an issue. Several companies have now released optics in this category, so I guess it's time that we talk about the torture on durability. Oh, the red dot, not me. It's a very tough red dot. I envision real world scenarios when I think about how to test a thing's durability. I generally don't freeze my possessions or set them on fire. Like, holy shit, what is your average day like, bro? The body is made from 70-75 aluminum. That's the good stuff. The edges and corners are beveled to decrease snagging on things as much as possible. Now there's sacrificial lenses on the front and the back. So even if those get shattered, the lens that the red dot projects onto is just fine and it will continue to work. Now, as far as the view goes, there's very little visual distortion when you look through the dot, but there is some. I also notice a slight blue discoloration, but it's barely noticeable. Now, I have astigmatism, and even so, the dot is very usable for me, although I will say that at higher brightnesses in darker areas, it does flare a bit more. Why are you doing this? Let me out of here. Now, I understand wanting to make sure it'll survive cold conditions, but personally, I've never been frozen in a block of ice like Encino Man. How about minus 18 degrees for a couple of hours? Will that do? Now, the Kraken comes with proprietary mounting plates for both the RMR and the Glock MOS footprint. And I hear more are coming. You attach the plate to the gun and mount the optic to it. Be sure to use the right length mounting screws and Loctite, or else it's gonna come off and bean you in the freaking face. It takes and comes with one CR2032 battery. That's a pretty common battery. It's toolless and installed on the side. The cap is easy to take on and off and has a rubber O-ring on the inside to prevent water seepage. Now, with Shake Awake, it's gonna give you about 2 years of real world usage. And I've had one of these on a rifle for well over a year that gets moved all the time, shot all the time, and it's still going strong. It has 10 total brightness settings. It's got 8 visible and then 2 for night vision at the bottom. The only controls are the brightness up and down on the left side of the optic, and they're large and easy to find even when you're not looking at it. I generally run mine on 6 brightness, and I can see the dot even in the brightest of daytime conditions. It does come in 2 flavors, cherry and green apple. I mean, red and green. I chose a green dot because the human eye perceives green as being brighter. Now, I can run the green dot at a lower brightness setting, which should extend my battery life overall. Now, the viewable lens is going to be about 16 millimeters or 0.62 inches for you Americans. And that size is very close to the Aimpoint Acro. You know, I don't think you're doing this right. So, what about water? Part of having the enclosed emitter is keeping stuff out of it. I'm not Aquaman and I don't spend a lot of time underwater, but rain exists. So let's make sure it can withstand some water. How about a 2-hour rainstorm? When shooting red dots, you keep a target focus with the red dot floating between you and the target. And because the dot is chunky for durability and strength, you will see the outer shroud in your target picture. But in real world shooting, it wasn't distracting and I was able to use it with no problems. With the Kraken's mounting plate, that means that the optic is gonna rise about 1.3 inches off the top of your gun. And that means if it's on a pistol, you're probably gonna want taller sights to be able to co-witness. And night vision has some good options. The optic weighs under 3 ounces installed, which is about the same weight as a deck of cards. And this is something that I have seen people conceal. I've seen it. Adjustments are easy to do with embedded turrets on the right and the top. The half MOA clicks are quiet, but they are there. It was easy to zero. I mentioned earlier that it has 2 night vision settings. But there's also an issue that nobody in the industry seems to be talking about. And that is some optics and dots have coatings on the lenses that block IR light. Meaning when I look through them under night vision, the lens is darker than the surrounding area. And for normal optics, that's fine. But for anything with night vision settings, that's stupid. I'm looking at you, Vortex Huey. I'm glad to say that the Kraken does not block IR light and works great with night vision. Now, with only 2 night vision brightness settings, occasionally I'll lose the dot if I have a really bright IR illuminator. No, I'm not even kidding. If you get 1 inch closer with it, I'm gonna freak out. So heat, like I'm no Johnny Flame, but for some reason people choose to live in Nevada. So like, 150 degrees for 2 hours. Will that do? No, I'm serious. Now, shooting with this gun has been great. I've got many thousands of rounds shooting under the Kraken on multiple guns, and it has never disappointed me. On rifles and carbines, it's easy to acquire and good to look through, even though the window is small, by using a target focus. It just phases out and leaves a floating dot. On pistol, because it's tall, there was a little bit more personal adjustment required. I was able to find the dot effectively after about 2 drills, and I've continued to do well with it. I'll admit, at first I was like, no thank you, but I continued to use it, do well with it, and now I think I actually like it more than conventional dots. Let's simplify this. The pros. Cross compatibility. Having something that's a good fit for rifles, carbines, pistols, shotguns, it even works as an offset dot. It's very versatile. Ultimately, the durability. It's truly one of the dots that I would trust in any case. I have beat the shit out of mine. Shake awake is exactly what I want in a dot. I never want to turn my dot off or on. It's annoying. This one gets turned on with the slightest touch. Like me. And the price, it's the lowest in its class. And if you use our coupon code, link in description, it's gonna be just over 300 bucks. And the cons. And some of these are nitpicky. The controls, I mentioned that they're good and easy to use, but I wish that the up brightness and down brightness were differentiated in some way so that I could easily find one and know, oh hey, this one has that bump on it, so it's up. The mounting plate feels just a little too thick, and it's already such a tall optic. And when you mix that with some of the pistol's ridiculous mounting mechanisms, it's tall. Now, the vertical lens directly behind the ejection port, it gets dirty so fast, and I guess that's not really a complaint about the Kraken in general, but more just this class of optic. And finally, size. It is big, but because it has to have more material for strength and durability, ultimately it's just going to be bigger, and it is very similar to its competitors. So I don't even know if this is a con or a pro, or just we're going to throw it here just to save time. It's a badass big boy red dot that I trust on my life and death guns, which I actually might have to use if this torture doesn't stop. But anyway, if you like big boys, then just watch this video.